Yeah, constructed here with with his fragments of particular museum displays in different geographies, in different museums, coming from different ideologies in a way. And in relation to your work, I actually want to focus more, since I know your work the most, but somehow I decided to focus on a kind of very small things, is a linguistic perception of the overall project. Because, let me take this book.
Let's think, what does this mean?
Linguistic, it's like simply, like, let's unpack this Musetopia as a kind of a very durational project which you're doing since 2008, so it's a very long artistic research and which is also like really comprise lots of geographies, but also a very complex background which Ilya is inherited through his life. And so I'm kind of like, I was, I have this book, I studied it, and so I was thinking like this word, Musetopia, there's so many things to actually in there. So like, even if we just do like very, very quick, in a way, unpacking of those parts of the words. Museum, it's like, I don't know, in ancient Greek it means a gathering of muses. In Latin it's more of a kind of a study, a library. Topia is very much connected to location, geographical point, but utopia, which is also, we can play with these words within this title of the project, it's about a utopian, I guess, in your case, understanding of museum, on what museum is meaning within this, I guess, Western European system of thoughts. And so this, I guess, it's a lot to unpack within that, and it's also interesting to think about, to kind of like maybe narrow down the understanding of museum within work of Ilya, because it's not just a museum. He works specifically with historian museum. Historical museum, it's a particular genre. It's not a museum of contemporary art. It's really a collection of things.
Also ethnography.
Ethnographical museum. It's still a collection of things. It's a collection of material history of a certain culture, of a certain country. There is like you know, in your case, you're interested in dioramas, and a diorama is a kind of invasion of a 18th century museum display, which travels since then into different dioramas, whether it's a war diorama or it's a natural history diorama. It's sort of the idea of that to sort of give to the viewer more real understanding of certain structure, whether it's a war event or it's a nature display. And so maybe you can like talk a little bit more about your relation to understanding of diorama in connection to the construct of history.
Let me change the terms just a bit, and then everything falls in the same place.
Okay.
If you think about the culture of show and tell, you show the visitor and you tell the visitor in different mediums. This is a museum. Museum shows you as a visitor what you should kind of basically know from your background as a local, or as a visitor who is interested in history or the flora of the fauna of the place. So it narrowed down the museum. It shows like one aspect or two aspects or three aspects, but not much more than this, because they're aware that the normal person cannot have too many stories running in his head or her head at the same time. But when you think what does this really mean, it means that it omits the whole 97, 99% of what really happened in the place, it takes it out. So museums which talk about installing memories, installing stories, installing ideas in the visitor's head. They use these kind of machines. The display is a machine. It's not a, it is a display, of course, but it has a social function to show you as a visitor what is the right thing, what is the appreciated thing. There is immediately an hierarchy between you as a visitor and the objects that are there, and you can relate to it through different ways, but it is so much, very often through the lens of belonging. Do I belong here? What does it tell about me? Because you project this person, you know, you affect it.
Yeah, exactly, and this is very corresponds with what who was it? Austrian theorist and art historian Boris Budin. I don't know if you know him. He is actually talking about that kind of constellation of state propaganda. Is not whether it's true. It's not whether it's like, it doesn't really matter really what is in there, how it's constructed, but what is important, what it does to you. So like what sort of what it does to you.
And that's exactly the point. Then when you enter the creation of the universe through the Moldovan lens, this is the red landscape. Like 200 million years ago, just before the dinosaurs, was this red forest. And in the red forest you could find these archaeological real artifacts that are lying on the floor. So you think to yourself, what is more important, the facts or the fantasy? It's always this kind of balance, a thin balance, or even, for my eye, it's totally unbalanced. It is way more place for the fantasy than to the science. So we are in a kind of a Luna Park. A Luna Park populated with scientific objects in some kind of order that are supposed to tell you a story about a place. But, you know, you could fake it. I cannot take it serious, that's what I should do. I cannot take this serious as a scientific place. Though it was. In the beginning of the 20th century, this specific museum was the jewel crown of the Moldovan research and academia. Everything was around this building. So. But they just killed it after, through the years. I mean, you know, they changed it. So
yeah,
that's how
I mean, and like not to mention that, or most of this historical museum and natural history museum and ethnographical museum in the like in Russia and in post-Soviet Union territories in countries like Moldova, like Romania, Belarus, like bigger territories, they are very much underfinanced, and then it's just a matter of keeping these objects in certain maintenance and just keep them, like, you know, not changing much, but it's yeah.
The
But
historical museum of Chisinau.
Yeah.
When it was closing down just after the fall of the Soviet Union, they were making a sale.
Yeah. And it's also interesting when in this book there is a kind of section of photographs, including this, and and also a description to each photograph, which is actually written with a lots of irony and humor at the same time. And so it's it's interesting to read about. I mean, we don't see dinosaurs really here.
No, it's not here. Not
yeah,
today.
but I'm just not today. Yeah, and so you can you very much invited to find those fragments of these pictures and also read about them. And it's also interesting to know that those dioramas, it's a big collective work of different specialists and painters. In reference to, for instance, this one, it was a big study in the 90s by Ukrainian drawers and painters. They went to the site to document like very precisely the nature landscape in order to transform it into museum diorama, into museum display. And yeah.
We have one display now in Ukraine.
Yeah.
That's what it becomes in them. That's why they are together.
Yes, exactly. But maybe you can add about the expansion of the project within geography, because
I would like to start photography in the Netherlands.
yeah, but no,
Museums.
just maybe more about those fragments from the military museum in Israel.
Oh yeah,
An ethnographical one, yeah.
Yeah, listen, this museum was a unique museum. They broke it down 3 years ago in Tel Aviv. It was the museum for the history of the Israeli Defense Force, or whoever this rings a bell. And because the museum was actually made by soldiers and not by real professional designers, it was a very homoerotic museum with a lot of puppets. It's true. I was shocked. I saw it first in the 90s, and it didn't change much, like in 2015 when I was shooting it. You know, so it was populated with all these kind of cheap mannequins from the shops nearby that are selling textile and fashion. There's nothing special about these mannequins, and it was full with uniforms and guns, and with a lot. And some of them, like the guns were between their legs, and that's why I have this fantasy. So it's like a place of unawareness. It's a place like that normally Israeli take their kids in the summer, because it's in the center relatively. It was in the center. It was accessible. It's not in the book.
I know. I just.
No. And they would go between these millions of weapons, you know, like as if they are looking at birds. It's normal, you know, like the Israeli mentality is a different. It has a different dimension in reality. So I was just shocked every time, again and again. But you see, you know, it's like, really? You're showing someone who is like, in reality, the mannequin is smaller than the photo. I wanted to make it a bit more ridiculous.
Yeah, I think
I wanted to ridiculous it a bit, you know, so I made it just a bit bigger.
Yeah, I think it is working in work with the scale when you depicting that kind of mannequin. I think it's also adds a lot to work. And so, like Ilya and I, we had this encounter and conversation when I was curating exhibition about war dioramas, and he was also contributing to, in relation to his series of photos of which depicts war museum, to the public conversation around this exhibition. And we were talking about the construction of war dioramas, but also. We were talking about how to talk about war now, how to document it, how to responsibly actually tell the story for the future generations. So, and what it does actually, what those war dioramas and what war museums actually doing to society, like do they like actually, do we need those museums really? So, and but you know, I picked up in this book, in one of the texts, this notion of organized forgetting. But you know, I'm kind of like, I was triggered by that, because a museum is not organized forgetting. Even museums in the geography which we're talking about. I mean, it is telling different story, it's propagating a certain narrative, but it's not about forgetting, really.
No,
I think it's collective remembering in a certain way, which state wants you to remember that.
Yes.
I mean, that's...
You can
No.
this way, but the result stays the same, in the sense that you remember certain things. Certain things are acquired experiences through these kind of places. About your heritage, for example.
Yeah.
When I was going in the Ethnography Museum in Jerusalem, which is the biggest, there was nothing there that would talk about my background as a Russian immigrant to Moldova, Jewish immigrant to Israel. There were no things from Moldova, just to mention. Or nothing that I could relate as a person. So you understand that there is a kind of an ideological need and we have to prove it. So we put a lot of it. It doesn't matter what we prove, we just pile it up and we put very nice cases with very nice lines. And then it becomes even better. More convincing, I mean.
Yeah, and especially I think this fragment from Ethnographical Museum in Jerusalem is also adding to this certain navigation through like how you need to think.
Yes.
Maybe you can tell a little bit more about it.
Well, it's like a traditional clothing of Jewish Arab woman out of Baghdad, probably beginning of 20th century. The Israeli Museum and the Israeli Academia made like a huge research about this community that doesn't exist anymore, and they were buying a lot of clothes from immigrants from those neighborhood, like from Jewish Arabs. But again, and there is a lot of this kind of traditional clothes, but this is not it. It's life in Iraq as a Jew before 48 was totally different. It was not only having this thing on the head, So I call it like red Rotkapia, because it's a fantasy. And Rotkapia, the red cap, she went in the forest. The forest was by chance red 200 million years ago. That's how I read about it. Because when you really think about narratives, you come to kind of absurd conclusions that it cannot be. So why not to make it even more absurd? So I put her in the right color at least, so she will not pop out for nothing. Yeah. So you really try to compose very different fragments of different museums, but within that are organized with the same logic. Yes.
So
that's it.
Thank you. Well, I'll stop now, and then you can continue talking to artists and see the works. And
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ребят, спасибо. Сейчас надо закушать.